Good morning, hello and welcome to Money Control's live stream. You're watching Opening Bell with me, Lovisha Darad. Well, after a twisting Tuesday where we saw markets recover sharply in the second half, today the pre-open is pointing to another good start for the Indian markets. The big event, of course, it is the US presidential elections. So far, in the early trends, it shows that Kamala Harris is lagging behind Donald Trump. But the 7 swing states, the battleground states, that will decide the fate of the running candidates for the White House. And we will be seeing whether or not Kamala Harris will become the first woman president of the United States, or Donald Trump could make a comeback to the White House. But other than that, we have a strong global handover. US markets finished positive overnight. All the major indices rose over 1% each as investors await the US election results. Meanwhile, the Asia-Pacific markets, that started this morning also on a strong note. We have the US Fed meeting that has started underway from today onwards. But plenty lined up in the show. We have 2 new IPOs opening today for subscription, Swiggy and Acme Solar. Also, moving on, don't forget to address our queries segment. So keep posting your stock-related queries on our live feed, and we will try to address them before 9:30 a.m. with our technical expert of the show. Moving on, let's take a quick look at the top headlines at this hour. Polls begin closing in the US presidential elections. Donald Trump wins key states of Florida, while Kamala Harris wins Massachusetts, New York, Colorado. Stocks in the Wall Street rally ahead of the US presidential election results, with major indices gaining over 1% each. The 2-day federal meeting also gets underway today. Meanwhile, stocks in Asia-Pacific markets open higher, while the pre-open is also indicating a positive start for the Indian markets. Titan reports a weak second quarter performance due to lower demand in the solitaire segment and lower studded ratio. The management also cuts EBITDA margin guidance going ahead. Meanwhile, Dr Reddy's shows a mixed quarter hit by one-off expenses, while India and emerging markets show strong growth. The 11,300 crore rupees Swiggy IPO opens for subscription today. The company has raised 5,085 crore rupees from the anchor investors. Now, after the yesterday's Nifty breach past that 24,000 mark, it comfortably closed above that 24,200 levels. Nifty, after yesterday's second half recovery session, it recorded its best day in 7 weeks. Now, what pulled the markets into the green in the second half were the financial stocks. Bank Nifty, that saw over 1,000 points recovery from day's low and helped the benchmarks recover very smartly in the second half of the session. Today, Bank Nifty weekly expiry is on the cards, so do keep out on any volatility which will ensue the markets. But yes, the big event still stands out to be the US presidential elections. All eyes will be on the results outcome. Markets have been betting on whose win would be better for the Indian markets, but the early trends, that shows that the Kamala Harris is lagging behind Donald Trump. Both Harris and Trump, they need at least 270 votes to win the presidency. So far in the early trends, Harris has secured about 91 votes, while Trump is leading significantly with 178 votes. But the trends could change. We will be watching out on that. Anything could happen. Trump has won so far in Florida, Arkansas, Alabama, Missouri, South Carolina, while Harris has taken Massachusetts, New York, Vermont, Illinois, and Maryland. Moving on from the US presidential elections, we also have the Q2 earnings season, which will continue through the stock-specific movement. Dr Reddy's and Titan, that will see some reaction after it reported its dismal September quarter performance. Today also we have Tata Steel and Power Grid, which will be reporting its Q2 figures. Moving on from the secondary markets, let's look at the primary markets. That is also a buzz in today. We have 2 new IPOs opening today, Swiggy and Acme Solar. Swiggy particularly, it plans to raise about 11,327 crore rupees, the second biggest after Hyundai Motor. Today morning, shares of the Swiggy have been trading at a very modest 5% premium in the grey markets. Meanwhile, Acme Solar, that is a purely renewable energy play. That also opens today with a price band of 275 to 289 rupees per share. And the shares, even them, they are trading at a modest 3% premium in the grey markets. So we'll see, how these subscription figures pans out for Swiggy and Acme Solar, given that we have seen a tempered returns from the benchmark indices. But moving on, let's take a look at how the today's trade setup look like. Let's look at the option queues data. The Nifty put call ratio that rose to 0.94 levels from 0.85 levels, which signals that some bullish momentum and positions have been gaining some momentum in the markets. If you look at the FNO ban list, no major changes done on that front. But yes, fund flows data, that has been quite interesting because FIs, they have been continued to be the net sellers in the previous session. They have sold to the tune of 3,031 crore rupees in the cash markets. So basically, so far this month, there has been no positive trend coming in from FIIs as well. Last month also, we saw that they sold every day of the month. DIIs, however, they turned out to be the net buyers and bought equities worth 2,569 crore rupees in the cash markets. But yes, on your screen popping up the early trends of Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. We can see Donald Trump leading with 195 votes while Kamala Harris is lagging with 81 votes so far in the early trends. But just a couple of minutes before we hit the opening bell, we can see in the pre-open rates that the Sensex and Nifty has seen quite an up move. But let's on that note, let's just get on board with our technical expert of the show, Vaishali Parekh of Prabhudas Liladher. Vaishali, good morning. So pleasure to have you on the show.
Good morning. Thank you for having me on the show.
Vaishali, can you hear me?
Yes. Am I audible?
Vaishali, looks like we are seeing a Trump win from the US presidential elections. So how do you expect the Indian markets to react in the short term? Can we see some jitters?
So, let's talk on the technical front. Of course, the volatility index is on rise, but we have stabilized. We have shown some stability at 23,800 levels, and we are seeing a good bounce coming in. So, I think we would follow the range. 23,800 should act as a support, and for today, we are seeing a good, strong opening. So, I think 24,500 should be the next target resistance. So, we take it step by step, not much of a conviction, but yes, we are seeing stability right now.
For Nifty. Vaishali, yesterday Nifty Bank that showed a sharp recovery. It closed above that 52,200 mark. So can we expect another 100 basis points upside this week?
So I would say that yes, Bank Nifty comparatively has been outperforming relatively as compared to Nifty. So I would say yes, there should be some more further upside trajectory going towards 53,000 levels. So for today, I would say 52,500 should act as the resistance.
Okay, 52. But yes, 53,000, that will be watching out for Bank Nifty. Vaishali, how does the metal counter look like? Nifty Metal Index. In yesterday's trading session, we saw a lot of metal counters buzzing in the trade. What is the near-term hold for the Nifty Metal Index?
I would say yesterday we saw, yes, metal was one of the sectors which was showing a lot of strength as compared to the other stocks. So I think the rally is to continue in metal stocks, and I think we are closely watching Jindal Steel and Power, Tata Steel. In fact, even the other non-metal stocks, Nalco, etc. They all are showing strength. They are showing signs of an upward move. So the view is positive for now for metal index.
All right, view is positive for the metal index. Let's look at some of the opening rates, how the markets have opened so far. Well, yes, we are seeing that the Sensex is up about 167 points. We are seeing a gain of 0.2%, while Nifty is also up about 0.3%. 24,285 levels for the Nifty 50 index. Apart from that, we can see a broad-based buying in the markets right now. India Wix, a little bit of an upsurge we can see in India Wix, but yes, now the adjusted rates show that it has cooled off from the highs and it is down about that 6%. It's trading about that 15 odd levels. Apart from that, we can see Nifty IT index doing well. It is up about 1% in today's trading session. But yes, we can see a broad-based buying, be it your mid-cap and small-cap indices. Both of them are seeing an uptick of about 0.8% each. Apart from that, Nifty Metal, which was popping into yesterday's trading session, today it's kind of flat and it is seeing a bit of a profit booking in today's trading session, down about 0.4%. If you look at some of the top gainers of the Nifty 50, that has the likes of Bajaj Auto, Bajaj Finserv, Apollo Hospital, HCL Tech and Tech Mahindra. So Tech Mahindra from yesterday's trading session also extending some gains. HCL Tech also we can see some extension of a gain from yesterday's trading session. Top losers on the Nifty 50 index, if you just have a quick glance, we have Titan. Down about 1%. We saw a dismal quarter hit by lower demand from the solitaire segment. Apart from that, we have Tata Steel, which is also down 0.7%. Today, Tata Steel is also reporting its Q2 performance. Apart from that, we have some other metal names, which is your Hindalco and JSW Steel. Yesterday, we saw an uptick in the metal counters. Today, we are seeing a bit of a profit booking down about 0.6%. Apart from that, Tata Motors is also a part of the Nifty 50 laggards list. But let's say take some stocks in focus. Dr Reddy's lab, that came out with its second quarter numbers. Profit fell about 15% year on year, while revenue grew modestly by 3% year on year in the second quarter. Vaishali, Dr Reddy's on the charts. Past 6 months hasn't performed well. What can we expect? Where can the stock go from here on?
So I would say there's no clarity. I mean, it's just a bounce back right now. The stock has been on a downward trend, and right now it's sustaining about the 200-day moving average. So I would say that yes, it can go further, surge high. Let's take it as a trading strategy. It can go towards 1330, 1350 levels from here on.
Okay. Another stock in focus is Hindustan Zinc. Well, the government is expected to divest about 2.5% stake in the company through an offer for sale. The floor price is set at 505 rupees per share. While the 1.25% divestment, that will be done on an equity basis, and the additional 1.25% divestment will be done through as a green shoe option. Vaishali, Hindustan Zinc, that has started to do fair well in the past 1 month. Where can we see the stock to go from here on?
I would say 500 should act as a support. Currently also it is at a short-term moving average support. So if this support is also broken, I think 500 acts as a prominent support. From there on, I think it should be a good buying opportunity.
Okay, 500.
Because still, yes.
Yeah, please continue.
So till yesterday we were seeing a very good up move, good bullish candle, and with these news, I think it has taken a bit of a corrective move. So I guess one should start accumulating within the band of 500, 520.
Okay, 500 and 530 levels. We have a stock in focus, that is your Oil India. It is up about 1% in today's trading session. It came out with its blockbuster set of Q2 numbers. We saw the net profit risen about 5x year on year, while the revenue also rose modestly by 3% year on year in the second quarter. Vaishali, the stock hasn't done well in the past 3 months. It came off its August highs too. So from now on, can we expect some recovery from these levels?
I would say so, because the stocks have been really beaten up, and if I see the weekly chart, they are all on a support, and so also is the case with the daily chart. It's taking support at the 200-day moving average. The recent high, what we saw, it was around 767 or so, and right now at 500. So the risk-reward ratio is also favorable. I think the stock should surge high from here on. It's a good buying opportunity.
Good buying opportunity for Oil India. Let's take another stock in focus. Well, yes, after Dr. Reddy's, Titan also came out with its Q2 numbers yesterday. Titan's Q2, that profit fell about 23% year on year. Custom duty reduction, that was one of the hit to the profitability of Titan. Total income, however, that rose by 26% year on year in the second quarter. Vaishali, Titan, can the valuation support its current market price? We saw that the management also lowered its EBITDA margin guidance going ahead.
So I would, I would say that, technically, even on a weekly chart, it's just breaking the support, but it's really at a make or break level. So 3100 is the crucial support. Right now, it is at around 3125 levels. So I think we can expect a bounce. There is no reversal in the trend, but just for the sake of a bounce back, I would say 3100 should act good for a support.
Okay, 31,200. Let's straight dive into the query segment. We have some viewers waiting for their queries very eagerly. The first query coming in from Satya, he's asking the view on Alembic Pharma for say 9 to 12 months, whether or not it is the right time to add. Vaishali, past 1 month, of course, the stock hasn't done well, but past 6 months, the stock has given about 9% returns. So is it the right time to add at these levels?
So I would say actually there's nothing really happening in the stock. It's just a consolidation, very long consolidation. So if one were to add this stock, do buy so with a stop loss of 1090. Further conviction strength only is seen about 1200 levels. So if we see a stock moving about 1200 and sustaining above, then I think one can look for a target of 1300 and so. So for now, it's just a small trading strategy. We can have a relook once it is moving about 1200.
All right, 1200 level, that will be watching out. He's also asking a query about Laurus Labs. Laurus Labs, Vaishali, it has done well in the past 1 month, but Q2 numbers, that missed estimates. We saw the net profit also diving about, 47% year on year. But Laurus Labs, how does it look like on the charts for the short term?
So I would say short term also the stock has been consolidating, and I think keep the support of 480 and keep a narrow range of 500 510. Above that we can see look for further upside. So for now it's a range of 480 to 500 510.
All right, okay. We have another query coming in from Satvika. She's asking about fine organic industries. So far this year, fine organics hasn't done well on the charts, Vaishali, but how does the stock look like? Can we expect some upside from here on, or is the range bound and consolidation movement expected to continue?
I'm looking at the weekly chart because, I think it's still in the process of a higher bottom formation. So I would say, the near-term support lies at 4,500 levels, and the stock can gradually go towards 57, 5,800. Above that, one can look for higher targets. So for now, it's a good buying opportunity.
Right. Good buying opportunity at these levels. Let's take a stock in focus. That is your Manappuram Finance. It came out with its second quarter report card. We saw that the net interest income rose strongly by 17% year on year on gold loan boost. Net profit, that was also up by a decent 2% year on year. Vaishali, Manappuram Finance, recently it saw sharp fall in the trade after RBI's action on its subsidiary. But what does the near term hold for the stock?
So the stock has really been battered actually, and 145 should not break. So if 145 acts as a good support, and that was the low what we had witnessed 145, 140 levels in the recent past. So if that support level is respected, I think for now take it as a trading strategy, as 145 as support and 175 to 180 as a bounce back strategy. Above that, we can see probably this can go towards 200.
All right, 200 levels that we need to watch out. Nitin is asking his view on Mazagon Dock. Vaishali, Mazagon Dock has been doing well from 1 month or even the 6-month chart perspective. Year to date also the stock has been doing well. Can we expect further upside, or should we expect some tempered returns from here on?
In fact, I think most of the defense stocks, whether you talk about HAL or Mazagon Dock, Cochin Shipyard, they have a long-term trend very good. Currently, they have seen good corrective move and consolidation happening. I think even for long-term perspective, one should consider these stocks because I think technically very well placed. And once the stock gets into good volume and momentum, you may see good upside from here. So for me, it's a buy with 4,000 as support.
Okay, 4,000 support that is coming in for this Mazagon Dock. Hero MotoCorp, it is up about 0.8%. It is planning and expansion plans in the UK and the other European markets. We saw the October sales figures, that was also good. But Vaishali, past 3 months, the stock hasn't done well. Can we expect certain recovery for the automaker?
So yes, the chart, chartically, if you go to see, it's already gone into the oversold zone. So consolidating at 4,700. So the support level is pretty close. So keeping in mind 4,700 as support, I think one can expect a bounce coming at least to 5,200 for now.
Okay, 5,000, that is the major level that we need to eye out. Another query coming in from Poon Rajesh. He's asking the view on Senco Gold for the next 1 year, and he's asking for suggesting the entry levels. Senco Gold past 1 month hasn't performed well, but if you look at the 3 months chart, it has given about 15% returns. Vaishali, where can we see, how can Senco Gold perform from here on?
So, well, a similar view like Titan and all. So, I would say that 1000 should act as a support over here. And first, for now, expect a bounce coming to 1350 to 1400. And then, if it sustains, yes, it's back on track, and one can look for a target of 1600 to 1800.
1600 to 1800 levels. Let's move on to the next query that we have. Alex is asking Blue Dart, technical and fundamentals, technical levels for Blue Dart. Past 6 months, Blue Dart has given just a modest returns, about like 8%. If you look at YTD charts, again, not really done well. Blue Dart, how does it look like, Vaishali, on the charts for the near term? Can we expect certain upside from here on?
No trend, actually, it's just a consolidation. So I would say a range of around 7,500 to a range, the near-term resistance coming at 8,800. So that's the range which one can play with. And above that, then it would open up higher targets towards 9,000, 9,200.
Okay, 9,000 that we need to eye out for. Another query coming in from Anue. He's asking, he's holding Linde from a long time, still at 9% loss. So should he book losses and exit, or should he hold the stock? Do we expect certain breakout in the near term? Linde not doing well, be it your 6 months or YTD, 6 months or 1 month charts. YTD fairly done well, of course, 37% returns we can see for Linde India. But what does the short term look like? Can we expect certain breakout, because it hasn't really performed well recently in the recent days, Vaishali?
I'm not getting the name right, please.
Linde India.
Oh, Linde India. Okay, fine. Yeah. So Linde, I think, well, this stock is a no-brainer. I mean, this has been doing very well according to me, and it is just consolidated in the near recent past. But long-term chart, if I'm looking at it, is a good opportunity to buy. Good consolidation we have seen at around 7,200, and from there on, it's just showing a meager this. But for a long-term perspective, I think this is a good buying opportunity, keeping in mind 7,200 as support. And well, look for 9,000 to 10,000 levels as the next coming target.
All right. We have another query coming in for Suzlon. Suzlon Energy stock, it has been quite the investors' focus this year. Suzlon Energy, but however, the stock is down about 23% from its 52-week levels. Vaishali, where can we expect Suzlon Energy to go from here on? Any short-term targets that you have in your radar?
I would say, we can expect a bounce coming towards 76. So 76 would act as a near-term resistance. Above that, we can really consider for higher targets.
Okay, just last questions before we let you go. What are your trading picks at this hour? We are seeing quite a volatility in the market, but today, from yesterday also we saw recovery, today also we saw recovery. So what can we expect from a trading pick point of view from you?
Yes, of course. So I like HAL at this juncture because it's corrected quite a bit, making a double bottom formation at around 4,100 levels. So I think this stock makes a good buying strategy over here with 4,100 as stop loss, and look for a target of 4,800 from here on. And the other stock which I like is LTIMindtree, because IT index has really corrected quite a bit, and from here on we can see a good bounce coming in. So LTIMindtree with 5,700 as a stop loss, and look for a trading target of 62.
All right, Hindustan Aeronautics and LTIMindtree, those are the picks. But Vaishali, thank you so much for joining us and for your time. We hope that we connect with you soon as well.
Pleasure.
Okay, let's just take a quick check of the markets before we go to our fundamental guest of the show. We are seeing that the Sensex is up about that 350 points in today's trading session, while the Nifty is also above that, flat in the green, 0.2% up we can see. Of course, now it's like rising up. as we progress with the markets. It's up about 100 points in today's trading session, above that 24,300 levels for the Nifty 50 coming in. India Wix, that has seen a cool off, down about 3%, trading on that 15 odd levels. Apart from that, Nifty Metal Index, that is not doing well, down about 1%. From yesterday's trading session, we can see that there is some profit booking which is kicking in for the metal counters. Apart from that, Nifty Pharma and Nifty Realty, these two are up 1% each in today's trading session. But on that note, let's quickly get on board with our fundamental guest of the show. We have market expert Anshul Saigal. Anshul, good morning. So good to have you on the show.
Hi.
Okay, Anshul, the early lead indicates that a Trump victory is on the horizon in the US presidential elections. But we are expecting that the Trump could go tougher on the rates, and we can see a stronger dollar. How long do you think that the Indian markets will see certain jitters?
Good morning. Thanks for having me. So, this is just one event, as we have seen over the years, whether it is the Indian elections or the US elections. These events impact markets in the short term, but the long term, it's very clear it's the fundamentals which make the markets move up or down. Of course, just now markets are jittery. There is volatility because of the anticipated election result. And clearly, in the context of India, there is a general perception that Trump should be better for India than not. And as a result, if there is a Trump victory, I think the Indian markets will cheer that. As regards, the bond markets, the volatility, the uncertainty in the financial markets is really what led to yields going up prior to the elections. And as the results come out, the uncertainty abates. I think that even on that count, we should see some succor. So our belief is that this is once the uncertainty is out, markets will start focusing on fundamentals and move ahead from there.
Okay. Anshul, so far this month also we are seeing that the FIIs have been aggressive on Indian equities. But Trump has indicated certain regulatory actions on China once it's elected. Can we expect the FII flows to re-emerge in the short term for the Indian markets?
So if you look at FII flows, last year India saw about $21 billion of inflows. And this year we are about flat. While in the current year, if you look at the competing economies, competing markets, they have seen inflows from FIIs. So this flat FII flow into India is really an India-centric phenomenon. It's not a global phenomenon where FIIs are running out of global markets and moving back to the US. It doesn't seem like that. Now, once the election results are out, the uncertainty is out. And also, given that India has corrected 6-7% in the month of October itself, being amongst the weakest markets in October, and valuations having become reasonable, it looks like flows into India should start thereafter again. Meanwhile, the domestic institutional flows have been very strong. Somewhere in the region of $56 billion in this calendar year itself. And that is on top of about $20 billion in the previous year. So domestic flows are a pillar which really was missing earlier and has become very strong in the current year. So we have to look at it in that context.
Okay. Anshul, we are seeing probability of Trump, winning the presidency. But which sectors could benefit from the Trump win? Anything on that front?
I don't, I'd be very, it will be difficult to say, and I don't think it will be right also to say that if Trump comes, this sector or the other will benefit. Although, the general China plus one trade, whether it is manufacturing, capital goods, or chemicals and pharma, India is a beneficiary in general of that trade. And if at all Trump is to apply further tariffs on China, then that trade will further move towards India. So it will be further beneficiary. India will be a further beneficiary. So on that count, these are some sectors which will benefit, and the runoff effect on of that is really on banking, because that is really the fountainhead of all liquidity in India, and banking should benefit as a result again. Short term, we have seen some abatement of credit growth, and deposits have caught up in the last 1 to 2 months. But going forward, we anticipate that if this growth is to continue in India, it has to be primed by credit growth, and banks, as a result, should be a beneficiary.
Okay, banks that will be eyeing for. Anshul, yesterday we saw recovery. Today also we are seeing that the markets are, going up. So can we expect the bull run to continue, or is it going to be a distant dream for the time being?
In the long term, India is, if you take a 3-5 year view, if you don't make money in India, then really you're doing something wrong. India is really in a very sweet spot for the next 3-5 years. Short term, there will be modulations basis what kind of valuations are building, are what kind of valuations are there in the markets, and hence what kind of growth is already built into valuations. And that modulation we are seeing today, even as we speak. We have seen the Nifty for the year being up around 20%, small and mid cap indices over 40%. That tells you what kind of upside we have seen in the markets in general. And then if we look back at March 2023, and from there we see where markets are today, I think the small and mid cap index will be up, both those indices will be up 70 to 80% or even more. Now, that is the kind of return that we have seen in recent times. Of course, earnings have not been as much as that. They have been very robust, but somewhere in the region of 15 to 20%. And as a result, there is a little bit of froth that is built in, and in certain segments which really don't warrant that froth. That froth is getting corrected just now. That modulation in the markets is always healthy, and long term, this is a very sweet market to be invested in. If you're investing for the next 5 years, it's highly unlikely that you will lose money, highly likely that you will create wealth. So think in terms of 5-10 years, not 5-6 months.
Okay. Anshul, as you rightly pointed out, that we have seen a dismal September quarter earnings season so far. But any valued pockets that you saw where the valuations have turned comfortable and there was some conviction from the earnings point of view as well?
Yeah, so to some extent, there is some comfort that has come in valuations. We have seen in certain pockets of the market, valuations correct as much as 30 to 50%. Prices have corrected that much. But I would say that there are certain segments still, say the SME segment, some small and mid cap spaces where there is a lot of speculation and where there is still a lot of fraud. And the perception that exists across market participants that it's very easy to make money and invest in any small and mid cap name, any SME name, and it'll double in the next 6 to 12 months. That perception to some extent still exists. I think that fraud needs to correct, that belief that it is so easy to make money in the markets. That still needs to correct. And so in our judgment, it's going to be a segmental correction. It's not going to be it's not going to be a broad-based correction that we might see going forward. Certain segments of the markets could correct 30-50% or even more. We have seen defense do that in recent times, defense PSUs particularly. And other segments may hold up reasonably well. For instance, certain segments in capital goods, or even in fashion retail, etc. Those have held up very well at times of immense volatility in the last 1 month. So that tells you the markets are giving you a signal that you've got to stay away from fraud, be in quality, be in companies where growth for the next 3-5 years is going to be strong, and you can't go wrong there.
Okay, that's right. But since you mentioned that the froth is there in the markets, do you think that the large part of the selling has already been done for the Indian markets, or can we expect certain downside in the upcoming months?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear the question. Either there is something wrong with my audio or your audio. I don't know, but I couldn't hear the question.
Okay, Anshul, can you hear me now?
I can
Am
hear
I
you
audible?
very well, thanks.
Okay.
Yes.
So I was asking that since we mentioned about the froth in the markets, I was asking that, whether or not we are done with the large part of the sell-off of the markets, or do we expect certain downside in the upcoming months?
Yes, so the sell-off in the market will not, in our judgment, be broad-based. The sell-off will be more segmental in nature. So you could see certain, let me give you an instance. We were investors in a railway PSU sometime in 2019, 2020. That stock used to trade at 20 rupees. It had a 4 rupees EPS, and it used to give 2 rupees dividend, which means that it was trading at 5 times earnings and about a 10% dividend yield. And at a market cap of 10,000, at revenues of 10,000 crores, the company had an order book of 70,000 crores. Now, which means again that 7 years of revenues were already there in the order book. Now, fast forward to 2024, and that stock traded at 600 rupees. So it was in the last 4 or 5 years a 30 bagger. Now, what used to trade at 5 times earnings started trading at, and 5 times trailing earnings started trading at somewhere close to 25 to 30 times forward earnings. Now, that kind of an uptick in valuations really was pricing in most of the good things that this business was seeing, and there was really no room for upside at that level. If you were a buyer at 600 rupees, seeing the past returns, then you were priming yourself for some sort of a disappointment because all the returns were behind us. And lo and behold, in the last 1 month, the stock is down from 600 to 450 rupees. Now, you could say that there is disappointment in this particular name, but if you were investors at 600 rupees, you were taking inordinate risk, and we see this sort of fraud in many segments in the market. We anticipate that those segments will see further correction. There will be fraud which will get removed from the markets. And there will be certain other segments. For instance, large caps really haven't done as well as the small and mid caps. We see value in large caps today much more than we see in small and mid caps. Of course, there will be the odd small and mid cap name which will do very well. But by and large, the returns in small and mid caps, they need to temper down from here, and you need to see a bout of consolidation.
Okay, a bout of consolidation is expected. But moving on from secondary markets to primary markets, that is also a buzz. Anshul, Swiggy is opening today, and Acme Solar is also opening for subscription today. Tomorrow, we will also be seeing Niva Bupa Insurance Company. But markets, they aren't doing well at this point of time. So what do you suggest investors that are specifically eyeing listing gains?
In general, our view is that when you have a listing, an IPO listing, no one really has an incentive to leave money on the table. Neither the investment bank, because his fee depends on the best pricing, nor the founder, because obviously he's selling equity, so he wants to make the most out of the equity that he's selling. And so in general, even history tells us that IPOs after listing consolidate for a reasonable amount of time. There will be the odd IPO which will make you money. We are not in the game of speculation. We are not in the game of pops on listing. Some people do that, and they do that very well. But I for one, and the conditioning that we have in the past, it's very difficult for us to play that game, and we'd much rather leave that game for someone else. There is enough pockets in the markets to make money and make money with favorable risk reward. We'd rather be in those pockets. We'd rather not eat everything that is available on the buffet. We've chosen what we will eat, and that remains favorable risk-reward opportunities for the long term.
All right. Yes, of course. But Anshul, okay, all right. With that, we have to let you go. So thank you so much for your time. We
Sorry,
hope
I
that we
can't hear
connect.
you again.
Hello,
I
Anshul. I'm
can't
saying
hear you
that.
again.
Hello. Yeah, Anshul,
Yes.
am I audible now? Okay. No, I'm saying that thank you so much for your time. We have to let you go at this point of time, but we hope that we connect with you soon as well.
Something's wrong with the audio. I can't hear you. Sorry. I think it's with the earpiece. If you can just please move the earpiece, I'll be able to hear it better.
I'm saying that thank you so much for your time right now.
It is my pleasure. It is my pleasure.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you
Yes.
for having me.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes. Hope we connect with you soon. All right, let's just take a quick check of the markets, and we've come to an end of this edition of the opening bell as well. We can see that the Sensex and Nifty is still standing strong at this hour. Sensex up about 450 points, Nifty above that 24,300 levels. 20, today experts have pointed out that the resistance is placed at 24,500, so that is what we are eyeing for as well. But yes, a broad-based buying seen in the markets, mid-cap and small caps, both of them doing well, seeing up to 1% gain in today's trading session. Apart from that, Nifty Metal Index is the only sectoral laggard at this point of time, down about 0.7% in today's trading session. Apart from that, all of the sectors are in green. Be it the realty or the IT sectors, they are the top performers at this hour. While India Wix, it is trading about that 15 odd levels. If you look at some of the top gainers on the Nifty 50, they continue to be HCL Tech, Infosys, TCS. So yes, some of the IT counters have started to play out and they are dominating the Nifty 50 pack. Bharat Electronics and Trent, they are also some of the top Nifty 50 gainers as well. If you look at some of the top Nifty losers, Titan, Tata Steel, SBI Life, IndusInd Bank after yesterday's pop, it is down in today's trading session, and HDFC Life down about that 0.5%. But with that, we've come to an end of this edition of Opening Bell. Don't forget to tune in for 3:30 p.m. for Closing Bell. We will be discussing about how the market is developed and what the stocks are in focus. Until then, signing off, stay tuned to moneycontrol.com for all the news updates and market insights.